Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to tackle one of the trickiest parts of learning French, something that trips up almost everyone: prepositions. You know, those little words like in, on, and at that seem so simple in English, but in French, well, that's a whole different story. Let's get them figured out.
So I'm sure you've been there, right? You want to say something like, I'm in France, and you think, okay, I'll just look up the word for in. And then you realize it's just not that easy. It's a super common moment of frustration, but trust me, there's a really good reason for it. And once you get why it works the way it does, the whole thing starts to click.
And this right here is the key. This is the golden rule for our entire explainer. You have to stop thinking about translating word for word. It's a trap. Instead, you need to start thinking about context. What is the word actually doing in the sentence? That's the real question.
Yeah, let's just call it the preposition problem. It can feel like this huge, impossible wall when you're starting out. But I promise you, it's not. It's really more like a series of small, logical steps. And by the end of this, you're going to have the map to get right over it. So let's get into our first set of steps.
Okay, first things first. We're going to group these prepositions by their job, by their function. And we'll start with the big one: location. These are the words that tell us where something is. And we're going to jump right into the deep end with maybe the most complicated one of all, the English word in.
Okay, so take a look at this. This chart shows exactly what I mean by context. When you want to say in, French asks you, well, in what? If you're physically inside of a thing like a box or a house, you use dans la maison. Simple. But when it comes to places, it all changes. For feminine countries like France, you use en. Masculine countries like Nigeria, it's o. And plural countries like the United States, it's os. And you know what's great? For any city, it's always the same. À Paris, see? It's not random at all, it's a system.
Let's just pause on this for a second, because this is a really big deal. The gender of the country literally changes the word you use. It's en France, but au Nigeria. So the work isn't memorizing prepositions. It's just knowing the gender of the country. Once you know that, you automatically know the right word to use. So what about on? This one's a little friendlier. The most common direct translation is sur. Just think of something physically resting on top of another thing. The classic classroom example, right? Le livre est sur la table. The book is on the table. If it's physically on a surface, sur is going to be your best friend. And now we've got at. And again, it's all about context. If you're talking about being at a general kind of place, like at school or at home, you use à. But, and this is a really important one, if you're at a person's place, whether it's their house or their business, you've got to use chez. So you go chez le docteur, to the doctor's office, and you invite people over chez moi, to my place. It's a little word that makes a huge difference.
All right, you're doing great. Let's shift gears a bit. We're moving on from location and talking about our next function, purpose and duration. This is basically everything covered by that one little English word, for.
Now, good news, this one is way more straightforward. The French word pour does most of the heavy lifting here. It really covers two main ideas: either the purpose, like why you're doing something, or a duration, like a period of time that you're planning for. And here you can see those two jobs in action, side by side. First, we've got purpose, un cadeau pour toi, a gift for you. You're the reason for the gift. And then there's duration, je pars pour 2 jours. I am leaving for 2 days. It's about a future chunk of time. Pretty simple, right? Okay, on to our last category for today. This one is all about the means or the method, basically explaining how something gets done. And in English, that's usually the job of the word by. So, when you want to use the English word by, French makes you ask a quick question. Are we talking about the mode of transport, the vehicle? Or are we talking about the person who did the action? For any means of transport, you use en voiture, by car, en bus, by bus. But if you're crediting the person who did something, the agent, then you have to use par. And here is that rule in a perfect, simple sentence. Le livre est écrit par Victor Hugo. The book was written by Victor Hugo. He's the doer, the person responsible. Just lock that difference in your head. En for the vehicle, par for the person. So, we've just covered a bunch of specific rules. But what's the big idea? What's the one thing you should really walk away with from all this? Well, It's all about shifting how you think. This is it. This is your new game plan. First, and this is the most important one, stop trying to translate directly. Just stop. Instead, start asking, what is this word's job? What is its function? Is it about a location? Is it about a purpose? Is it about a method? Once you know its job, you can link it to the right French word for that specific context. And that's how you really solve the preposition problem for good.
So there you go. The real secret isn't about memorizing a million different words. Not at all. It's about understanding the function of the word you're trying to use. You now have the keys to making all of this feel so much more intuitive. The only real question left is, now that you know how it works, what's the first thing you're going to say? Thanks so much for joining me.